Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video right here, which has a very doomsday title and thumbnail. Pullback incoming. Is the market going to dump? Something like that, or at least I think I'll call it that. If it's named something different, I changed my mind. But very doomsday title and thumbnail, probably. We'll talk about that, all right? I don't think that there's immediate reason to be worried, but if you are maxed out on leverage right now, if you just entered some long positions, I personally would reconsider. But we'll talk about that. I'll give you my thoughts right now on the markets. There's some fundamentals that I think we need to go over and we need to talk about. And then we'll talk about Bitcoin and what Bitcoin will do and how that will matter for the rest of the markets. We'll talk about Ethereum, we'll talk about XRP, and we'll talk about certain altcoins, specific altcoins. It's been a while since I've done that I think you need to keep your eyes on when we are going to pull back. So first of all, due to the US government shutdown, which in my opinion is not necessarily bearish, historically, at least for the financial markets, a shutdown just, isn't statistically significantly bearish, if you know what I mean, right? It's not the truth that a shutdown is always bearish. And I would even go as far as saying that the shutdown normally has no effect or no significant effect on the markets. The significant effect that it does have is that we do not have data. All right, today we would get jobless claims data. As you can see, they haven't even removed it from the calendar. Also, they haven't removed it for tomorrow, but tomorrow at 12:30 UTC we would have unemployment rates and non-farm payrolls. Very important, by the way. But it doesn't seem that we will have that, which is actually not bearish, because usually a non-farm payrolls day and an unemployment rate day is very volatile. So it's actually, slightly bullish here that we won't have that. And I actually think that increases the possibility of getting one more move up here. We'll talk about that in a moment. But outside of that, the fundamentals are fine. If you take a look at the expectation for rate cuts in 2025, which I always like to keep you updated on. At this point of time, there's about an 85% chance that we will get 2 rate cuts. Good news. And then the US market has opened about 14 minutes ago. Can I close this? Oh, thank you very much. And if we take a look at that, you will also be able to see that the S&P 500 is doing fine. We opened a little bit higher. Now we're pulling back, but there's no sign to be very afraid. Volatility index is very low. Gold is still very strong, but I don't think that's a reason to be worried. Russell 2000 stable. S&P 500, like I said, stable as well. So fundamentally, nothing to be worried about at this point of time. Things can change, all right, and historically things always have changed. But we will have to wait for those changes to see, is that bullish, is that bearish. Now, when we're taking a look at Bitcoin, that's where my main conviction comes from that I expect a pullback. I told you that this morning already, and I'll grab my piece I've written in my premium feed a little bit about why I expect a pullback, and that's for multiple reasons. First of all, the leverage is extremely high, right? The leverage at this point of time, if we zoom out on Bitcoin, can I please get my leverage data? Yes, thank you very much. If you take a look at the leverage data, it's as high right now as it was the 11th of August and as it was the 13th and 14th of August. Both of those days were tops. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be the top as well, but it does mean that we are quite leveraged. And then if you combine that leverage with the imbalances down below and the knowledge that Thursday and Friday are notoriously, or at least, historically, I should say, bearish for Bitcoin, and we are at a strong resistance level right here at 120,000, which you can see is very respected. It's also the value area high. We also have a fair value gap there. I think that's plenty of reasons for me to tell you I think we're going to pull back. Do I think we're going to crash? I don't know, but the thing is that the Bitcoin dominance is going up. The Bitcoin dominance is trying to reverse into a lower time frame uptrend, which means that if Bitcoin is going to pull back, that will have a pretty disastrous effect on altcoins. So be aware of that, all right? Be ready for that. That is, I think, the key right here. But like I said, because of no data coming out, I think it is a possibility that we'll do something like this, right? So that we spike up to 121, 122 before pulling back. That once more shorters are going to get hunted, and that then we'll pull back. That is a possibility, all right? So it's not all over yet, and it's also not an easy short right now. Definitely not. Everybody who thought they were getting easy shorts over the course of the last week are liquidated, dead. But okay, so we're looking at XRP. XRP has been relatively stable. I expect this to continue upwards as well. But again, since everything is quite correlated to Bitcoin, I do think XRP is going to fill at least some of this fair value gap a little further, because we did fill that a little bit already. And Ethereum, the key is that we hold 4,300, 4,200. I think we'll be able to do that. Well, basically what I said this morning, which is this. Now, talking about altcoins, there's a couple of altcoins that I think are buys during pullbacks. So let's go over a couple of them. Aptos is the first one. All right, so Aptos, you'll be able to see right here. This has created a huge amount of imbalances here to the downside. I would say it's most likely that that one of those imbalances is going to be strong enough to hold us. I would say if you want to be aggressive, 4.7 is the entry area. If you want to be conservative like me, I would say 4.5, 4.4. But this was very strong, and I do think when we actually retest that level around 4.5, that this is a buy. I like Pengu a lot. If you take a look at Pengu right here, you'll be able to see that we got a strong reaction or a strong bounce right here from the value area low. We left some imbalances right there, but there's actually quite some strength around Pengu. So if this retests that fair value gap to the downside, I think that looks like a good area as well. What more do I have? I actually wrote something down. Now, I still think, I mean, fundamentally, this is obviously a more difficult trade with plasma, but I still think that if you are able to be greedy on plasma and wait for a drop down into 80 and 75 cents, I think that it actually could be an amazing entry. But that's because fundamentally I like plasma or XPL a lot, but I think most of you already know that. So those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know about the markets for now. I will definitely keep you updated on this. Hopefully it helps everybody, but for now, have a great Thursday. Take care and bye.